Hey, this is Ryan Treasure from VoiceAmerica.com, leader in live internet talk radio. We're right here in beautiful Irvine, California at Speaking Empire event. The weather is gorgeous outside.
Yes.
The people here are fantastic. Got Lyman Montgomery right here as well. Just had some, off-camera banter, just, kind of getting to know Lyman before we had the interview. And I think you guys are going to be in for a surprise when you get to know a little bit about what he's got going on. He's a speaker, an author, and one heck of a human resources individual. So, Lyman, why don't you just tell everybody who's watching right now a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Lyman Montgomery, originally from Dayton, Ohio. Currently, for the last 2 years, been in Bloomington, Indiana. My company is called Lyman Montgomery Business Success Network, and we are a HR training company, and we work with organizations to help them deal with employee as well as labor issues, increase productivity, and also promote a culture of excellence in the workplace.
If there's any one thing out of what Lyman just said personally that I think everybody needs to take note of, it's the terminology of excellence.
Yes.
Right? I know that if you get up every morning and you just settle for what is, right, then you just get what's given to you or what you got, right? If you wake up and you foster excellence on a daily basis, then I think that gives you the ability to command something that maybe you weren't able to command before. It sets you apart from the everyday individual because you do command that excellence in everything that you do. So, maybe just kind of offshoot, let the listening audience know how important it is, to foster an environment of excellence in anything that you do, regardless of whether it's your personal life or in business.
Sure. The great speaker and trainer by the name of Dr. Wayne Dyer, said you have to be intentional. Promoting a culture or creating a culture of excellence takes intention. You have to map out a plan that says, where do we want to be 5 years, 10 years against where are we at now? So you look at that gap between currently where are we and where do we want to be, and then you create benchmarks. And we help organizations create those benchmarks to see, okay, this is where we're at. This is how we're viewed. Earlier we were talking about every organization really has 3 brands. There's your corporate brand of how the entire marketplace sees you. There's your personal brand, how your employees view the company. And then there's also the community brand. And those are how those in the community, in the neighborhood, in your sphere of influence see you. Right. And if there's not congruency amongst those 3, and you hear people say, well, internally or our personal brand has issues, there's high turnover, but we have a great community brand. We do a lot of fundraising for nonprofits. We're engaged in X, Y, and Z. And we help organizations to find that balance between their personal brand, community brand, as well as their corporate brand.
And I want to kind of expand on that just a little bit, because I think it's important that all of the viewers and listeners understand that a brand, right, as we talk about a brand, people, they think brand and they think, oh, McDonald's, Golden Arches. And then, a brand is not a logo.
No, it's not.
A brand is not a logo. A brand is who you are, what you do, and how you do it every single day to impact your customer base. And what do you do for them as a service, whether you're selling something to them, whether it's a product that makes their life better or a service that provides, for the betterment of them. But, I think it's important that people understand a brand is not a logo.
It's not a logo, and it's also how others are perceiving you as well. Because you may perceive yourself being one way, but if you're not out there in the marketplace talking with those that utilize your products or services and say, tell me, what was some of the reasons that you purchased this product, this service, and how do you see us? And how does the industry view us? And that'll give you some market indicators as to, is this the brand that we're projecting, or are we really in another niche market and we want to get over here, and how do we get from point A to point C? What's the B?
Right. Well, and I think to add to that too, it's not just a matter of, how are you getting from one place to the other, but I think it's also, how do you engage with that brand outside of, just your sphere of influence or that, and so I think, expanding on some of those pieces, maybe kind of falls into the human resources.
It really does.
Right?
It really does, because top management, let's say the executive managers, they normally, the board of trustees or direct, they will set vision, all right? Then they will take that vision and give it primarily to, let's say, their top managers. And then those managers, their support mechanism for getting it done is in human resources. All right. Human resources normally houses labor relations. It may house employee relations. It may also house training and development. And so HR plays a huge role in carrying out the vision, the mission of any type of organization. And yet, for most individuals that work in HR, and I've been in HR for 25 years, I know the language, I've done everything from benefits, compensation, employee relations, labor relations, the whole spectrum of HR. I know that world. I know the pain that those who work in HR deal with, because it's a system where people come to us with issues and problems, and the problem has always been we're reactionary. There's an event, there's a problem, we react. What Lyman Montgomery Success Network is designed to do is let's get ahead of the problems. And the only way you do that is through providing training and coaching. So I work with about 15 to 20 executive HR directors and some VPs of HR and helping them to take their organizations through change. Our motto is, it used to be change takes courage, and now we say to change a culture takes courage.
Right. Yeah, and I think that, wholeheartedly kind of goes and drives down the path of, some stuff that Voice America, talks about every day. I mean, Voice America as a company and what we do, for live internet talk radio, the idea behind what we do is to take a message that's of value and importance and spread it to as many people as you can. But I think it's really hard for anybody in any business to take that to the next level if you're always being reactive as opposed to being proactive.
Exactly. And for the longest time, HR professionals was not considered decision makers. We were support, sort of like the spare tire. And what I teach organizations to look at their human resources department as not just simply a spare tire. We'll call you when we need, or we have a gap or an opening, or we need resource, or we need someone, but really need to be at the table. I work with HR decision makers to say, listen, you have to earn the right to be at the table. Yeah. No one is going to invite you, and that's why I got into Six Sigma. I'm a Six Sigma black belt trainer, and I work with organizations, the HR department specifically, in teaching them how to think like thought leaders and also to be very strategic, that they can earn the right at the decision table and not just simply hope and pray that someone will invite them and to get ahead of issues. When I wrote my book, Shattered Masks, 7 Masks We Wear.
Hold it up there real quick so everybody can see it.
Yeah, Shattered Masks, 7 Masks That We Wear has gone all over the world. Sales have been just incredible. And it's a book of my journey. I didn't speak till I was 8 years old, and I talk about some of the reasons why I didn't speak. I was held back twice, sexually abused, and out of all of that adversity, graduated with honors, went on to get not 1 master's, 2 masters, and now currently working on my PhD, have done close to 30 plus speaking engagements a year. And so I'm in high demand, and the book outlines that. And part of it is being transparent. That's why I entitled the book Shattered Masks, 7 Masks That We Wear. And I just share real briefly, one of the masks is the mask of silence. Organizations as well as human beings oftentimes suffer in silence when on the inside there's a raging inferno. And so I wrote a program tailored to businesses that says, Shattered Masks, teaching managers how to be transparent in an untransparent world. And we talk about some of the masks that we wear. For example, sales are low. How are sales doing? Oh, they're okay. And then you look at their financials, they're in the toilet.
Yeah, and they're like 50% behind where they were the previous month, but sales are okay. No, they're not. Be honest with yourself.
Or you read in the paper, it's like, oh man, I understand you guys had a hiccup in your labor negotiation. Oh, it was no big deal. And then you read in the paper, you had a mass walkout.
Yeah. And I really think a lot of people fail to realize that, as you talk about brands and you talk about HR and human resources, you can't have a brand without the human resources, because the humans behind that and that resource is what drives the brand.
And that's what drives. And oftentimes, HR departments are the ones that's given the task to carry out, especially going through any type of change. And throughout history, there have been primarily 3 types of change leaders. There were those that were autocratic, what we call transitional change leaders, which basically said we are going to change and either you get on the bus or you get left behind. Then there was transactions. Say, well, let's look at trade-offs. And then there's what we call transformational leaders, all right, that says, how do we get the entire organization on board, that all of us move in unison?
That's fostering excellence.
That is fostering excellence.
Very well said. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here. Real quick before we jump off, though, tell all the viewers where they can get in touch with you outside of this video.
Yeah, you can Google me. The website is Lyman Montgomery Business Success Network, or just simply LymanMontgomery.com, LYMAN, Montgomery, MONTGOMERY.com, or just Google Lyman Montgomery and all my stuff will pop up. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and a couple of other sites that I don't even know about.
Well, Lyman, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for your time.